So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode, World War V started, and I don't really need to explain anything. Just look at the Americas, and you probably still don't know what's going on. This guy's getting gangbanged right here. I don't really know why. Like, same with this guy. It's really just a matter of alliances. Now, if we turn on alliances, it kind of makes a little bit more sense, but also kind of like it's not good. Bolivia invaded. It's like, it's interesting what's going on in the world, and it's also not very good. We're gonna get into some of this eventually. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, um, and we reached 900, so it's officially the goal is 1,000 before October, which is I think it's in the probability. It's probably gonna happen. Anyways, let's go ahead and start today's video off. Let's start it in the Americas with the Brown team, and they're going on a little bit of a conquest. Now, it's not entirely their fault. In fact, basically none of this is their fault. However, the Bolivians are going to continue to start invading more land. Or not the Bolivians, but the Bolivians, their alliance, the Heart Alliance, which is just Carolina. Carolina is invading a bunch of land, and it's not going good for everybody. This is not going good. A lot of these countries are starting to realize Carolina's pretty strong, actually, and Texas is stronger than Carolina. However, it doesn't seem like that here, to be honest, as they're kind of soloing these guys, and it's kind of gruesome what's happening. I mean, it's not very good, and it shows that they are really mad that they have been framed from all of this, and yeah. So while these guys are single-handedly carrying this front, we also have to worry about the Bolivians. Now, we do see the Dark Scion team in southern Mexico start to take some land. So they're going to start to take a bunch of land in the Yucatan Peninsula. And then Bolivia is going to take a bunch of their troops out because they realize that, they need a better secure front. So they're going to focus on taking the southern lands in El Salvador, and now focusing on a grand front to take down the southern Mexicans in the Parallelogram Alliance. The Floridians, for some reason, are focusing on them and kick them out of Cuba, as well as Jamaica, and they also make a landing in the Caribbean, taking Haiti. Now, the purple country right here is going to go ahead and start invading this green country because they want to ultimately do something, and you guys might already kind of figure out what's happening here, and who's going to fight against who, but these guys are invading the green country, and it's going really well. They split them in two. They've taken this northern half, and now it's just this half that is the problem. The red team starts to invade the lime country right here, as they are in separate alliances versus, it's the Arabian Union's alliance and then the North Indian Federation's alliance. They also push into Caucasia. And the war starts to heat up as the Arabian Union is going in on the offensive. They're going in on the offensive against this country right here, and it's going well. These guys it's not pretty what's happening. These guys are getting completely destroyed. And it's kind of weird. There's barely any troops on this front line. It's not like the North Indian Federation just kind of abandoned this country. And so it is, as these areas start to get invaded, and the Arabian Union, well, this area falls, and they fall to the Arabian Union very quickly, and, yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, the North Indian Federation and their allies just kind of abandoned this, probably because these guys had to focus on a bunch of fronts. They have to focus on two, then the Arabian Union also has to focus on stuff, but in Africa, this Eritrea, yeah, that's not gonna go well. Yeah, that's really not going well. They did not protect us at all. They really didn't. I don't think they even tried to protect us. Only the coastlines remain, and even then, those are starting to get threatened. But let's look at cities. Okay, this does make a little bit a better thought process here. Um, basically, this gives us population numbers. This gives us how much the country will fight for land. So this gives us a lot. Also, I don't know what this is. I'm gonna state it as blue. I mean, technically it could be like Libya or something, but I don't know. Anyways, the North Indian Federation is they're mad. and they are starting to invade a couple countries, including this guy. They're starting to invade Sri Lanka really quickly, and they take these two major cities, followed by this one, and then this one, which is just like counterproductive. They don't need to be doing this. However, they are, and they're taking a lot of major cities, and now they're only starting to take some, like, they're starting to get some pushback. However, it isn't that much, but some signs are warning that these guys could push back and even push it to India. We'll just have to see what happens. But anyways, let's see their front in Iran. Oh, that's really not good. I didn't mean to do that. That is really okay, North India Federation. I know you're the strongest country in the world, but you don't have to show us it like that. Even you're invading? That's kind of sad. Oh, and you know what's also not good? These guys are invading, so it's like pretty much a Persian gangbang. These guys do not like the North Indian Federation. However, they don't like the Brown team, and they like the Brown team way less than these guys. So they like the North Indian Federation right now. Probably not in the future when they ultimately get invaded. The Ottoman country is going to single-handedly wipe out this guy. It really had no chance, and I don't even know why it tried to join in on the North Indian Federation side. Probably, I mean, they were already gonna get gobbled up in the end, but yeah, I'm actually not never saying that word ever again. Never mind. Back over here on the terrorist front, we see that, well, they're gonna try their hardest, so not that. They're gonna start invading parts of the yellow, I guess the former yellow team, and take this city, which used to be the previous capital, and they are starting to get a larger militia than before, taking more lands in these countries, and it's not going well, as they are, well, trying to mobilize a bigger and better force as they possibly can. However, it's not going well. Over here on the Sudanese front, we see that the Egyptians are starting to push it to Sudan. However, they get heavy losses, as we can even see the North Indian Federation is supplying these Sudanese guys, and it's difficult for them to get by now, as there is a lot of troops in this area in total. Like, just this area right here has just a lot and a lot of troops. This whole area just has a bunch of troops. I mean, we can even like kind of make it worse by just like doing this. I mean, this area just has a lot and a lot of active troops. Like it's bad. That's definitely a good majority of the world. So basically, all of Latin America, really, all of the Middle East, and then parts of India and Africa, parts of Europe, and then a lot of East Asia. That is a lot of active troops, and that's also is a lot of casualties. It kind of transfers over to that. I had a lot of bad times trying to draw that China thing. I don't know. I don't know if I have carpal tunnel or something, but my hands are just not good. These guys are going to continue to solo as they now start taking more land, and they even go into areas of the Orange team, taking this major city. And really, they're just going all out. They go into these guys, it's insane. They take all of Arkansas, this small area of Florida, and now they start taking more areas of Florida, cutting them in two and separating that part for Louisiana to hold. But then Louisiana is also kind of getting crushed by Texas, and it's not good. This whole area is having a lot of casualties, and it's really just thanks to the Parallelogram Alliance and the Bolivian Alliance in Carolina. They're all just inflicting mass casualties on all these people. It's kind of insane. Also, I just realized the pink team has a lot of like cities on the edge of their country, on like these areas and these areas. They have a lot of major cities. It's kind of weird, but these guys are inflicting pain. I mean, let's just look at like all the land they've taken so far. That's definitely like one of the biggest countries in the world. It's kind of comparable in size to these guys without Alaska, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. And over here on this front line in Mexico, the Bolivians are absolutely killing it. They are moving and moving and moving. And the Southern Mexicans are like, they are not like, the Arizona Union is like really mad at their allies. Specifically, the Orange team, well, these guys are okay. and also the Texans for not holding off Arkansas, and really mad at the South Mexicans for not holding off this, in which they're actively pretty much dying. And now, finally, oh, I gotta send troops down there, even though I was trying to fight Carolina. So now I gotta send troops to my horrible ally to try to help them, and it does do well. I mean, they take some cities, they took 2 cities back, uh, but like, the Gold Mexicans should also be trying to do something here. Because if they don't, there's just going to be like a Bolivian onslaught throughout all of America. And eventually Bolivia will own all of America if nothing, happens. Over here with the terrorists, they are doing one last final, hurrah. And they are just completely, yeah, it's not good. The terrorists have are now using all their manpower. They have gone down to where they don't care anymore, and they're just using everything they got to try to do something. They go off track and now are invading this country, and they don't even care anymore. They want to invade. This has been their whole personality, invading countries and getting away with it, and now they want to do that such thing. They invade parts of this Chinese-owned land. They take the rest of the gold country. They start taking more areas, and they are just completely annihilating everything in Central Asia. They're now starting their invasion of the Orange Country, which they have planned for a long time, and their onslaught continues as nobody can do anything about it, and countries are falling rapidly. These countries are very weak, but here's the problem with this. They are a huge country now. Definitely one of the biggest in the world, if not the biggest. And now they have connected up and now are starting to take real populations in real major cities, which is heavily tanking their country and taking their troops. But their goal is to get to South China at least. And yes, they start invading to South China, and their goal is to at least show their patriotism and nationalism. And yes, they do get to the South China Sea, and they are officially kind of like the Mongol horde, but in, like modern day. So Korea joins this war on the side of China and starts helping them invade. And wow, this is amazing. Basically, I'm gonna go ahead and take like a second to realize how big this thing is. This is how big their country is. This is how big it is. I don't know how I can else like show you. This is a huge country, but it's like not gonna last. I'm gonna do like another turn of like whatever's going on in Africa, in the Middle East, and Europe and stuff. But yeah, by then these guys are gone. And these guys know that they will die. They wanted to show their patriotism though. I sure got tism. And yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and go over here to where the Lime team is pushing back the Ukrainians, and these guys have had a rivalry for thousands and thousands of hundreds of years, and well, the Lime team is finally getting their push back. I mean, they have been like the Lime team hasn't existed. I mean, they started existing in episode 50, but before that, how they haven't existed since like episode 30 something maybe. And that's a long period of time dead, and well, yeah, and they are starting to do great progress into the Caucasian country, and it's actually great progress. However, these soldiers are way heavily trained more than these guys, which probably shouldn't have been the case. So these guys have now just made a landing into Sevastopol. Oh, but the Ottomans get kicked out. Why? Why did you try to make another landing in Sevastopol? You're gonna need the help of at least another country to help do that. We'll look at that in a second, by the way. The Sudanese and their allies are gonna go ahead and push back the Egyptians out of this area. And, it's good to note that no nukes have been used yet, but there might be some. These guys are starting to get way thinner. However, they are making a push up for some reason. They want to help their Egyptian allies, so they're making a push up to try to help it. And it's going well. However, the Ethiopians are trying their hardest to not let this go through and to have it stopped. However, it's a little hard when you realize that this is the whole entire Arabian Union. I mean, not all the military. I'm sure some is fighting over here and over here. However, this is kind of a lost cause. I mean, not really. However, the North Indian Federation and their allies are getting really close to the capital. This is really just now like a mountain country. So they're gonna try to push back. They're gonna take back this major city. They're gonna take back some land here, and they're gonna take back two major cities here, as well as the Caspian coastline. So I guess that's a little bit of a redemption arc. And they take back this city too. So I guess they're doing good. However, they still look like a twig. I guess now just like a branch. And well, I'm sorry, but this is not gonna last. South China starts to push back and does greatly in doing so. These guys push back. The brown team comes back, and with that, parts of China are liberated, and Korea is helping China, and that's probably the first time I've ever said that. This is a different China than the old Chinese Republic, though, or Empire, whatever you want to call it. And they liberate all these northern areas, followed by these southern areas, followed by a full-on invasion of all of these terrorist invaded areas. The Gold Country is ultimately going to be a part of this. These countries start to take their land back, slowly but surely, as these guys all wanted to eradicate the terrorists at one point, at least in history, but they are back doing it now, and these guys are starting to get reduced to absolutely nothing. The purple team takes all of these lands. The orange team also does a bit of invading. However, all of this, or at least the rest of it, is going to go to the Chinese, who have just kind of done a rampage across Central Asia. I mean, they have done a lot, and it's kind of insane how much they did. But these guys were doing pretty well. We have to be honest. They did pretty well. However, in the end, it doesn't matter, as it's now reduced to rubble. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the Trapezoid Alliance. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Okay, so these are a bunch of neutral countries. They are they're like non-expansionist, but reformist. So, like the Angolans, the West Australians, the Russians, they're all like reformists, and they want to bring back their former selves. However, they're not like, they're not like the Parallelogram Alliance or the Heart Alliance, who is pretty expansionist. They're reformist, which has expansionism obviously in it. But like okay, so here's the issue. They think that the North Indian Federation and its allies not framed, but kind of just did a staged event. They think that they thought that I guess they think that the North Indian Federation was trying to trick the Arabian Union into thinking Egypt dropped the nuke into Qatar. However, it was indeed these guys, and the Trapezoid Alliance is very mad. So, of course, the Trapezoid Alliance is going to declare war on the North Indian Federation Alliance, and the Bolivian Alliance, and the Parallelogram Alliance. They've had enough of all of them. They don't want to deal with the fact that there's too much expansionism. They want democracy to finally be formed. And well, that will happen. Let's just go ahead and see some other things happen, like that, and then that, and then these guys will fully join the yellow team. I don't care what you say. This is just a crazy war, and it's insane. But a union will happen here, which is a union between these guys, which is to full on make an invasion of these guys. It's insane what's happening. They are making an invasion into the Carolinians, and the Carolinians, admittedly, start to fall. They start to help the Blue Country in invading, and when this happens, the Carolinian Empire kind of starts to fall. Florida takes a lot of its land back and goes over into this area, take all of their land back. However, they can't advance further, as there still are some areas over here. However, the Parallelogram Alliance is going to take their areas back. However, these guys will stay, as they kind of have to. Still troops in there. And, well, this was definitely not expected. Here's an issue, though. The Quebecs Yeah, they're in this war too, and they're on the Parallelogram Alliance. You thought we forgot, and well, they started invading into this country too, taking a lot of land, and now they have to retreat troops from Carolina to fight here. However, that won't be too big of an issue as they're way stronger than Quebec in all areas except for, I guess, size, but more population, more army, more everything, except for size. But size doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't care what you say, but also, um, so this is gonna be a little interesting. So, yes, these guys are gonna push back over here. Oh, but look at this. The Russians are back, and they're starting to invade Ukraine again. That does not sound right. And these guys are starting to feel for Ukraine. They're like, we don't want this to happen again. Uh-oh, you shouldn't have said that. You really shouldn't have said that. Coming over here to the Angolan Union, they're gonna start their invasion of the North Indian Federation's allies in Tanzania and the Congo, as they are also ready to form a sort of African union. It's not necessarily that, however, it's kind of close to that, and they want just Africa to be united for once instead of always divided, and that is honestly something that's really good. However, they are invading, so that's pretty bad. But I mean, it's like, come on. Like, here's the thing. It's like, I know these guys are desert, but like, the red team is like the best desert person ever, so they're gonna be like really long after this war, or they're not gonna expand at all. We're just gonna have to see. Anyways, let's see the Arabian Union, what they're doing. Oh, that's not good. So those guys are kind of cut off, and well, let's just go ahead and go to the last event of today's video, which will be the brown team. They're gonna be handling this really good. They're gonna be pushing back the North Indian Federation, and they also push back the purple team a lot actually to their border, and also the this guy to their border. And from here they start invading these countries, just like so, taking a lot of major cities. Anyways, that is gonna do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. It was a very crazy video. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which this was 22 minutes. The last video was like 30 minutes. This is a crazy, crazy war. But anyways, see you guys in the next video. That's 1K before.